So let's start with last video and calls that we did during the short holiday Thanksgiving trading, right? So back here, oh, can't move that. We got this guy here. We talked about the 15 triple. That is from the 25th, right? So the 25th created a triple right here. We fibbed out that high-low, anything above 25K. We're looking at that takeoff range all the way up. On the YouTube video I put out last, I utilized 25,300 and the 2618 from that triple 15 we just talked about. Now, that extension had two different ways to play the Thanksgiving crunch, right? We said anything over the 2618 would push to the 3618. Anything under the 2618 would come to the 1618, right? And the last Thanksgiving day here had a push over the 2618. So the obvious magnet was the 3618, right? So I wanted to see the break first. We didn't quite get it. So we held the 2618 in here. So the opening play for Sunday night was pretty obvious. 100% short under 25,500. Which we covered last night in the Discord as well. So we came in and we said, yep, we have a pretty big opportunity from the easy drop. Even if I pull over the Discord here last night, easy drop. That was the 3618 extension from our YouTube video, was resistance to watch, opened directly into it. Can't miss, like we talked about last night in the Discord. So where did that put us? That's right here. Obviously 25,500, big psychological level that we are dealing with, exactly on overlapping fibs. So it opened up anything under 25.5 as we discussed, right down. So right to the 2618, and now we are on the way to the 1618 pivots. So this is what gives us our outlook for the week. So again, all built off just the triple 15. What's going to happen now? Well, we came up, ran to the 1618. Did we roll back to the 100? Nope. We flew to the 3618. Also, a pattern that we know when it comes from to no back testing, when the fib that we draw here comes up to the 1618 and it doesn't return to the 100 fib to launch itself up to the 2618, we know if it hits that 3618 with no back test, it is serious pressure on extension. So that's the last kind of catalyst we had seen at the open last night, calling hundreds of points, and we capitalized pretty well. So into today's trade, I wanted to cover that first off. Now, this morning, we have a couple different trades and watches that we had just called in the Discord as well. We have this NQ bounce coming up at extension. So you see here, if you take the 15-minute chart, I like to use that opening 15 a lot of the time, right at a psychological level, right? Huge wicks on both of these guys. And we'll turn that guy neon green for the funsies since it's a 15. Now we put this to the downside, and in the Discord I said we're waiting for a couple little long pushes up. Why did I say long? Well, we had the short pinned perfectly. We knew exactly where it was coming from the last video. It comes down, hits my favorite extension, and all these things do is go extension to extension, as long as you draw the fibs correctly like we teach. 15's up, what does it do? 1618 right here. Did it retest to the 100? No. Did the 2618 retest to the 100? No. Well, gosh darn, you should probably long the 3618 just like we covered in the first part of this video, right? So here's the 3618. What's my favorite scalp? 3618 too? 2618. Hey, we did it. Very easy, right? 3618 back to 200 points. All right, that brings us to today, and we're getting a higher low built right now on this opportunity. So I dropped to the 5-minute chart. And we had a couple different markers here that we could use for the long that we called. So what I did is I drew a high-low. We'll go to the 1 minute, actually, of this last range move. So we came down to that 3618 again. Like we said, we were just up here. We hit the targets. Now let's look at what the 1 minute gave us. Inbounces. Do these have to fill? Nope, but they're there. So as we look, there's a 1 minute gap here and a large 1 minute gap that has already been tested but not filled here. 25,307 and in 2 ticks to 25,309 in 1 tick. So very large 1 minute inbounds. When we get them that big, it's not a sliver. You can look at the two in size comparison. And notice that that top one is much bigger, right? So as we move into the long, we were back at the 3618, creating a higher low, which we talked long into 25,041 area. And we started averaging in here. We got a little push into that 100 EMA. It does a little dancey dance. And we took the high-low range of the last leg down, and I drew a fib. That's it. And we used a 50. Posted this one in the Discord. I said, well, we got the halfway point, high-low in a range, which we love to do. And then as long as it holds the GP, we go up. New liquidity was made right here at 25,260 as we called, and that was going to be the break point to continue. If you notice, it hit twice, 3 times, broke out, now perfectly holding new liquidity. How did we know new liquidity was there? Well, the triple GP system, right? That was this guy right here. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I can go to the marker because Black Ops made me such a cool indicator here that it should show up over here, but I think it closed the 1. Yeah. Okay, so it did close the all, but for some reason it does not show it. Okay. All right. So this was the triple, whoops, that we got into right here. So it came down to this GP and it launched back up. But 1, 2, 3, and they were all filled here. So these 3 candles created no tag GP. 1 no tag GP, 2, 3 no tag GPs. And that's why I said liquidity is now at 25,060 brand new. What is that going to do? Cause the breakout point, right? We already knew it was resistance, hit it again, but this time with an impulse move into it, came back down, and I said breakout over to 25,600, or 25,060, and now we're running long. We get the breakout that I called 30 minutes in advance, and now we are on the breakout to the gaps we have already called in Discord. So our long entry call, 25,241, has now made it to 274, and we are still looking for 291 area for those first gaps. So if you caught that long, we are riding, like it says in Discord, all the way up. So we are killing it right now on the morning push. We are looking for this extension. We have that last leg high-low fib going on and the gaps to target. So congrats to anybody that went through that with us here in the Discord. Like I said, if you ever scroll up or join our Discord late, we are always talking about moves. Way back here at 7:09 a.m., we were talking about the gaps right here that needed to be filled for positive, or needed to be a magnet for a positive move to that long side. We created the Fibonacci, called it way before here, looking for those points of interest of 41 entries. And then we discussed most of the stuff on the way up, as we like to do. And now you see that defense at the GP and targets being hit. Now I was already out of 80% of the trade right here. We longed 41 and now I'm just riding the rest. And I wanted to get 50 out of the first. I got about 25 points right here. And now we're sitting on our runners with 40 points. We're going to go for 51 total, as again, 45 to 50 is what we said in Discord. So that brings us to what we're actually going to do for the day. So our full breakdown here for the day was we're just going to watch that holiday retrace, right? So we have a lot of junk action back here, a lot of crazy stuff happen on that last move right here. The low volume days are super wonky, and then we generally kind of crawl back up after that, right? Because on the holiday week, as we expressed, generally it just goes up, right? No matter what. Low volume, low trade just snaps up. We talked about that a lot. And now we're just kind of left with this broken, ugly chart. If you go to the daily chart, it's really not that much better on a lot of the stuff. It's just the grind. You're going to look to your left and you're going to see some of those open GPs, and we will continue, right? Now, the one thing about the GPs, and this is the full strategy for today, is a triple GP system, what we always use. Look at the daily chart on Qs. This is the most important. 1, 2, oh, you guessed it. Last trade day has no GP tag. About that bad boy right there. And this is the entirety of the play. Where do we see it? There's the last no tag GP. Where is it coming from? Way down here, which means in between these two GPs, we're going to mark 1. And now we got to pick the magnets. And I won't fib this one. I'll just draw the box because we already have it. There we go. So 1, 2, 3 in a row. Now it's going to pick. So once in a while, we see this intraday way more in the daily. It opens up in between the GPs. This is where the magnet's going to come in, right? So now you see the GP system working in all of its fancy clarity. Push, high or low into GP held, now breaking out. These have to be tested, one of the two, right? So we have a giant gap and all these mega imbalances, and your eyeballs should immediately magnet to the triple again, right? So we're going to delete the daily fib. We already have the zone of GP. This is the last part of the trade. 5-minute triple to the downside. Where's it bounce at? 2618. Oh, hold on. Crazy mouse is crazy. So where's this big old imbalance go? Boom. We're going to extend this to the right, and you're going to see the crossovers. As long as we hold here, we are going up to yesterday's lows, to yesterday's open, and potentially, oh my God, the 100, right where all the liquidity sits per usual. So we have no back test of this. This is all gap. It is straight up to target 1, yesterday's lows, target 2, 127, and target 2, 617. So this is why we're riding those longs from our bottom pick at 25,241. Yes. Congrats, we're up 60 points. So right now, from all the Discord calls, this is what it is. This is where we're going. We'll see up here at potentially yesterday's lows, even before open, but we will hit here live. And then we'll see if it wants to mark up. So the easiest move is obviously from 2618 back to the pivot for a live tag right here. So we will get about 90 some points out of this one, it looks like, from the bottom call of the 2618. And that's that. That's the long. So enjoy that with the information. Enjoy that from the last video, and we'll see what we get for the rest of the day.